What's up, guys? Welcome back to another workout. Today we're getting into a full body training session, hypertrophy focused with some strength and power thrown into the mix. Let's go. Now, before we get into this, let's talk a little bit about the why of the workout. So as always, we start things off with a dynamic warm-up to make sure the body is warm and that the heart rate is up so that we're performing at our best. We're ready to work while also reducing the risk of injury. So this is a fast and effective warm-up. If you have more time and/or just want to spend more time on warming up, do 2 full sets of this. So we start things off with a little bit of cardio to get that heart rate up. We then start activating. So we're activating the glutes. We're then activating rotator cuff and upper back. These are often underactive areas. They're often neglected. They're often problematic for a lot of people. So we're gonna make sure that these are warm, activated, and ready to go. And then we have a full body dynamic movement to continue opening the body up and to continue elevating the heart rate. Now, getting into the main workout, we're gonna be focusing mostly on hypertrophy, so building muscle with this training session. So I need you guys lifting 1 to 2 reps before failure while maintaining excellent technique throughout to maximize your results with this training session. We're gonna be using a horizontal loading structure, which means we're doing all sets and reps of one movement before moving on to the next movement. We're gonna be resting 90 to 120 seconds in between sets. So we start things off with our vertical pull, targeting the back biceps with some core in the L chin-up. We then get into pretty much a full body movement with a main focus on the hip hinge and the rotational vertical press in the landmine clean to press. We're also focusing more on strength and power with this exercise. We then get into our squat pattern. So we're elevating the heels to put a little more focus on the quads. We're also gonna be targeting the core and upper back. We then get into our horizontal push. We have the incline 1.5 bench press where we're targeting chest, anterior delts, and triceps. We then get into our lunge pattern where we're targeting quads and glutes with the back lunge to step up. And we finish things off with kind of a full body movement, which has more of a focus on core. So here we're bringing some power and strength to this movement as well. If you have extra time, you want to get some extra credit work in, we have an awesome stability focused anti-extension core movement in the ring plank layout. Now, if you guys like workouts like this one, and maybe you're getting sick and tired of your same old routine, maybe you've plateaued, maybe you're not seeing results anymore with the plan that you're following, you need to switch things up. Tap the link in the description of this video and check out my training app. You get 7 days completely free of full access to all of my functional training programs and my daily workouts. All right, guys, getting into our dynamic warm-up, we start things off with the jump rope for 2 minutes. If you do not have access to a jump rope, really any steadier state cardio of your choice will do. So nice and light here on the feet, staying primarily on the balls of the feet. Notice that I'm not swinging my arms to get that jump rope around. I'm just flicking at the wrist. So arms should be nice and relaxed, just flicking at the wrist, staying nice and light on the feet. Next up, we get into some of our activations. So we're getting into some glute activation here with the lateral band walk. We're going 20 steps in one direction and then 20 steps in the other direction. Very important here with this movement that we're keeping constant tension on the band. Notice I'm not bringing my feet all the way in on every single rep, losing tension. We want to keep as much tension on the glutes as possible. Next up, we have our band monster walks for 10 reps going forwards and then 10 reps coming backwards. So same key technique principles. We want to make sure we're keeping constant tension on the band throughout this movement. So in the lateral band walk, we moved in that frontal plane. Now we're moving in that sagittal plane to hit the glutes at a different angle. Next, we start warming up the shoulders and the rotator cuff with the ring Y pull for 10 reps. If you do not have access to rings, you can use a TRX suspension trainer. You can also use resistance bands as well. So you do not need a ton of resistance with this movement as you're just warming up. Think about keeping your arms as straight as possible throughout and really pulling your body up into that Y position with that upper back and rotator cuff, contracting your back and rotator cuff at the top, then lowering back down with control. Next, we continue to activate and warm up the shoulders with the ring T-pull for 10 reps. So very similar principles here. Now we're going out to the side as opposed to coming up into that shoulder elevation. So think about keeping the arms as straight as possible. Again, you do not need a ton of resistance. Just focus on really contracting, squeezing those rear delts rotator cuff and upper back at the top of each rep, then lowering down with control. And we close out the warm-up with our full body dynamic movements in the walkout to spider lunges for 6 total reps. So great full body exercise here. We start off by walking out to the high plank position, bring a foot high into the outside of the hand on each side to really open up those hips. Walk the hands back in, stretching the hamstrings at the top, and repeat. All right, warm up complete. Let's get into the main workout. So we have exercise number 1. We have the L chin up. We're doing 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. I want perfect control in all your reps. So notice I'm starting in the fully stretched position. I'm pulling up, I'm squeezing, contracting my back and holding with control at the top, then lowering back down with control to that fully stretched position at the bottom. I want you keeping your legs as straight as possible. So feet together, toes pointed. Flex your quads. If you need to modify the exercise, do tuck hold chin-ups instead. Getting into exercise number 2, we have the single arm clean to rotational press. So we're doing 3 sets of 6 reps per side, no resting between sides. So as soon as you finish that 6th rep on one side, switch, and then 6 reps on the other side. You don't want to go so heavy that you can't move this bar fast. So we want to find a weight that's going to be very challenging, but also still allows us to move quickly and move with power. So I want you guys focusing on a good hip hinge, back nice and straight. You're gonna pull and shrug while then rotating the hips, switching the hand, and then pressing with power as you finish that rotation through the hips. Exercise number 3, we have our kettlebell heel elevated front squat. We're doing 3 sets, 10 reps. I want you guys owning the bottom position, pausing for a second or two. Make sure you keep tension in the quads in the bottom. You're not just relaxing in the bottom. So here I'm using a 2-inch heel elevation. If you do not have access to what's called a squat wedge or a slant board, you can very easily use the handles of kettlebells or dumbbells or even plates. So the focus here is on keeping the chest as tall as possible. So elevating the heels allows us to keep a more upright torso throughout the squatting pattern, allows us to push our knees over our toes more, which puts more focus on the quads and a little bit less focus on the glutes. So focus on slowly lowering down at every single rep, owning that bottom position, and then standing tall, flexing your quads at the top. Next up, we have our dumbbell incline, 1.5 bench press, 3 sets of 6 reps. You guys can use dumbbells or a barbell with this. I'm using a 30-degree incline. However, play around with the degree of incline. 30, 45, even 60 degrees, and see where you feel your upper pecs working the most. So we're focusing on lowering down as slowly as possible to the fully stretched position. So lower down as far as your body and your shoulders allow comfortably. You'll then press back up halfway, lower right back down. So we're keeping constant tension in the chest, creating more time under tension with that half rep. Lowering right back down to that fully stretched position. Then press back up through your chest, squeezing your chest at the top, then lowering back down into your next rep. Next up, we have the back lunge to step up, 3 sets of 5 reps per side. So 1 rep equals a back lunge, 2 a step up, so 5 reps per side. You guys can use kettlebells, dumbbells, or even a barbell on the back, whatever's most comfortable and accessible for you. So we start off by taking a big step back, keeping the chest up nice and tall. Lower the back knee till it lightly touches the floor to ensure full range of motion. And then when you step up with that back leg, you're bringing them right up onto the bench. Again, good posture, driving up through the quad, driving your knees out to stand tall. Step down with control, and then lower into your next rep. Then we close out the workout with somewhat of a full body movement with more of a focus on the core and even more specifically on the obliques. So we're gonna take about a squat stance, barbell off to the side of the body. We're gonna pull this bar fast with power up to the midline and then rotate through the hips, pulling it back down to the other side and decelerating the weight using the obliques. So really keep the elbows tight to the body, decelerate that weight, pause for a second, and then pull back up and over with power to the other side. Now, once you guys have completed the workout, you feel like you have a little extra time, you want to put a little bit more work in. We have some core work to finish things up. In the ring plank layout, 3 sets
of 10 reps. So great anti-extension and stability exercise to really light up the abs and the core. It's also going to work a little bit of shoulder mobility and a little bit of lats as well. So the key here is to fight the extension, right? We're laying out as far as we can, fighting that extension the further that we lay out, really trying to maintain proper plank position and maintain a neutral hip position as we lay out. So ideally we're going all the way out. However, lay out as far as you feel comfortable or that your body allows you to with proper form.